Well, I thought our effort was really good in a lot of stretches of the game, and that's certainly something that we need to build upon, and that's a good growth opportunity for us. Our execution really wasn't where it needed to be, but ultimately you need to get to the point where you do both, and we've got to learn to do that. And that's something that we've got to go back and reevaluate and just keep getting better bit by bit. But overall, I thought we got better from the last game to this game, and that's certainly what we have to build upon.
They really ramped up the defensive pressure after you guys are pretty comfortable on the offensive end doing what you wanted to do in the first probably 7-8 minutes, and then they kind of ramped it up. How much do you think that affected the momentum of this game?
Well, we have to find ways to score, and the challenge for us is to get, when we get stops and to get out in transition is a good way for us to score, but then the tempo is so fast, you're kind of really you're stretching yourself thin in a lot of different ways. And so, I think we have to find ways to score in a half court at a higher percentage, whether it's a switching man, a non-switching man, a zone, whatever it is. And really when we had great opportunities to get the ball inside throughout the course of it, and I thought Sophie did a really good job of giving us those opportunities. And so we've got to, when we're not able to get it to her, we've got to find other ways to capitalize and score.
As Mara was saying, teams are starting to really kind of trap her off the pick and roll, especially late in shot clocks.
Yeah.
It kind of puts you in a position because she's your best shooter.
Right.
I mean, obviously that's something you have to counter without giving anything away. What do you think the way forward is, given how teams are really focusing on her?
Well, I think obviously the league is a very well coached league, and they're finding ways to limit her opportunities, and I think she's doing a good job of trying to create in different ways, and I think we've got to continue looking at what that looks like to get her some of those opportunities in different ways that we're doing right now, if that makes sense.
You guys have done such a good job of limiting the turnovers 20 tonight. Was that? I mean, it wasn't just the.
It wasn't just the press. No, it was we had some against that, and some things that we just didn't make good decisions with it, or didn't make good decisions, not even just with the ball, but just where we were getting to. And once we got into good spacing, then we seemed to attack at a good level. But just in a lot of different ways. We had some shot clock violations, and again, being able to get the ball inside and attack will help us earlier in the shot clock with some of that too.
I think you guys were down 12. You scored 6 straight. The last one on the break after a turnover, and you didn't hit a field goal the rest of the way.
Right.
What did they do? Because at that point it was half-court situations for the most part, because you got consecutive stops there.
We did. I thought we had, if I remember the exact order of all of it, but I think we did a good job of attacking in transition, and Mara got to the free throw line a couple of different times. I think we got it inside, had a good opportunity, and just missed a layup opportunity. We had some actions where I think Maya got some fouls in some of those, and there are some kids that, if you go back on film, I think she's going to find that there are other kids, and she usually makes those passes, and I know she was trying to jump around kids, and so just we'll look at a couple of those things, because it's not just, I don't think it's one thing. It's a cumulative effect, and I think that's where, obviously, as you look at, you want to play really, really hard. And when you play really, really hard, sometimes you don't play as smart as you want to, right? Especially when you are going through it and you're learning at the same time. And so, again, pleased with how hard we played and how we competed, and that's what we have to build upon. And then we go back and we look at how to execute better.
Just quickly for me, you mentioned how, being pleased with how hard they played. What's that say about the group, considering, when you're turning it over and things are kind of getting mucked up on offense, it can be real easy to get frustrated, sure. But it seems like, they hung around, and at least had one last run in them.
Absolutely, and I thought that's something that we didn't do as good of a job in our last game, was continuing to compete even when things weren't going our way, and that really was our message, going into this, and certainly going into the second half, and I thought we did that at a really high level. And then there's the execution piece. There were times when we did some things defensively that maybe force the issue a little bit more, but then we didn't see the ball went right by us, and we just didn't see it. And so our effort was good, but our awareness wasn't as good as it needed to be, And so there are, and again, it takes some time to get to the point where you're comfortable enough playing really hard, being in a spot, and then making that next play, and then trusting that when you make that play and you come over to take that, whether it is a ball screen, roll away, and you're on the backside, that you've got to trust that your teammate's going to help you to get to that next pass, because maybe you've got a kid who just hit a shot or something along those lines. So that trust factor, the vision, all those kind of things, the activeness, we're not as active as we need to be defensively yet to create enough things, even though we may be in the right spots. So it's a process, and you don't want it to be a process, but it is.
You were talking about awareness. I mean, for the second straight game, the opponent was getting some pretty easy shots in the paint, maybe sometimes off pick and roll, sometimes just because people got lost. Mara talked about how you guys need to work on the help defense a little bit. I mean, there's still a lot of work in progress there?
Well, it is, and it's not from a lack of wanting to do it and not wanting to do it at a high level, but it takes reps at doing it, seeing it, adjusting it, feeling comfortable with it, and that's something that when you have one or two players who are new to making those players seeing that or understanding that, that's one thing. And sometimes it's hard when you have one or two new kids, but now when you have a whole team of new, it's just something that we talk about toughness. And I thought, I give Maryland a lot of credit. I think they played hard. I think they played well. At the same time, I thought our kids played hard. Did we play well? In stretches, but we didn't execute particularly well. There's a toughness to how hard you play, and then there's a toughness to being able to execute. And we're not ready to do all those things quite yet, but we got better. And so that's what we build upon. And then there's there's that togetherness piece that goes with it, and stay together. And I thought our young ladies did that. We have a really special group, and they're going to continue to grow, and they're going to continue to improve. And if you look just at the end result, in this game, you may not say, "Gosh, we didn't do it," but again, that we're getting better, and that's what we have to build upon.
This question isn't relevant to the game very much, but McKenna Johnson just joined your team, and she was here today for the first time. So how was that?
Well, we didn't think we had enough freshmen on our team yet. We only had 7, so we thought we'd add another one to our team and get to 8. And McKenna made a decision. She actually presented the opportunity to us, and rather than the other way around, and started talking about it, I think, at some point in time during the summer, and asked if it would be something or I just asked what our thoughts were on it. So this could be a really good idea for her, because again, now she has an advantage. She can see this, she can watch it, she can be in some drills, she can be on the scout team, she can learn some things through all of that, and that's going to help her. It really will. So that's kind of a funny answer to it, not a really serious answer, but I think it's going to help McKenna, to see it, to be a part of it, to watch it. It's going to help her understanding it at a much higher level.
One last question. You have some players on your team who have proven or came here with a reputation of being shooters. They've proven they can make shots. The shots aren't falling right now. Is there a frustration level there, particularly from behind the three-point line? Because you have to figure that Grace is going to start hitting them and Mallory's going to start hitting them pretty soon.
Yeah, I thought we got good looks. There were some, but I don't even know that we got shots in some of those, kind of later shot clock scenarios. But I do think we had a number of opportunities that were really good, and we have confidence. I mean, you look at our numbers and we, shoot in practice, or you look at our numbers in some shooting outside of practice scenarios, and we have good shooters, and they're going to make shots. So, unfortunately, right now we're at a stage where we don't have a lot of players that can really attack the rim and make a lot of things happen that way. And so we have to be able to get it inside in other ways, whether that's through movement, post touches, those type of things. And then we have to rely on making some shots. That's a hard way. And then you hope your defense creates enough opportunities for you that you don't have to rely on that. But right now we're a team that kind of has to rely on that a little bit too much. And that puts maybe a little more pressure on you at the same time to have to make them. And not that we talk about that. We just want to shoot them because they're open shots. We want quality of shots. So I really do believe that they'll make them. I do. They're good shooters.
I guess everybody was giving you guys a hard time by what they were doing on that end of the court.
Yeah, I think teams are starting to, whenever I'm coming off ball screens, they're starting to kind of trap it and hedge it, kind of forcing the ball out of my hands, and especially towards the end of the shot clock, so we've got to clean that up. I thought we were great when we got the ball into Sophie. She did great things tonight, passing it out too, so we've got to keep doing that. And like you said, I think it was a lot better offensively, being more intentional, running the rim, but I think there's a lot to still clean up defensively.
I mean, Maryland's so well known for what it does in the full court as far as defensive pressure. It seems like that took a while to get you guys kind of work through that. I mean, do you think they kind of maybe changed the momentum of this game on the defensive end?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. Early on, they definitely gave us troubles in that press, but we figured it out. We adjusted, and so that wasn't a problem. But I think our defense tonight just wasn't where it needs to be. They were getting layup after layup, it seemed like. So we'll clean that up. We'll reflect on it. We'll come to practice tomorrow and figure out what we need to do for the next game.
Mara, I saw you getting tripped up a lot in today's game. How do you not let that get to you? Because it's like a big part of basketball. I know it can be frustrating.
Yeah, I think teams are just trying to be physical. Like you said, just kind of rough me up a little bit. And so just got to be resilient, be tough, and just take the hits and keep going strong and hard.
Sophie had so much success in the paint, especially in that first quarter. What did it feel like from your perspective? Did it feel like they changed the way they were defending you? From your perspective, what was the difference there that made it a little bit tougher as the game went on for you in the post?
Yeah, they definitely put on full front on me, and then they had someone sitting behind, so we couldn't really lob it, which made it hard to get good seals. And so I think one thing that we're going to focus on is trying to figure out how do I get myself open, need to leave the lane probably a little bit more just to get some better spacing, get some more ball screens for our guards.
In Iowa on Saturday, they were getting a lot of looks right at the basket too. You said that's something that you need to look at and kind of clean up. What do you think's going on there? Is it the pick and roll, or are they just getting down the court quicker, or what do you think's going on there?
Got to do a better job of helping each other, tipping passes. I don't know how many deflections we got, but probably wasn't a lot, not a lot of steals. Just got to help each other. We worked on that a lot this past week, and it just hasn't translated yet. But it's a long season, so we'll clean it up.
Yeah, I also think that they're running more of a pick and pop, which is something that we haven't really drilled yet, so probably something that will be practice over the next few days as well, which kind of gave us out of our system too.
Good.
One random one for you.
Go ahead.
For either of you, I just wanted to I'm doing a piece on Debbie players that are assistant coaches. You guys obviously have Rachel. I'm just curious, what has stood out about her as a coach for you guys?
I think, first of all, just her energy, the energy she brings to practice, and just being able to look at her, especially for me as a guard, and she's been very successful. So whatever she says, I definitely listen to and just take note of. She does a great job of helping us out, whether that's in individual work or just on the sideline. So we're really grateful for her.
Yeah, I find it beneficial because she can kind of give me the guard perspective of, am I open on my rolls? Do I need to set this screen differently? And so then she's able to kind of help nitpick that up, and so I can get guards a little bit better open and just build some better chemistry that way too.